and it's under heavy active development right now.
All right.
Like a small addition, we are actually translating some of the in-game text that is available to the users as like in our scripts, the help menu, the settings, backpack, like all of that. So there will be more on that as well inside the client stack.
Awesome. And while we're talking to Arseny, let's jump over to some client and studio questions here. Arseny, here's a direct one right for you. If the new GPU lighting-based methods become live, what will happen to lower-end hardware such as non-Tegra mobile GPUs and integrated graphics? With the new CSG solver coming soon, will any triangle optimization tools be added? Kind of a two-parter there.
That's like two questions.
Yeah.
So the first question, right? So we have released the prototype. The prototype is great. The prototype also currently only works on like mid-range to high-end desktop, laptop type devices. So the question is, what will happen to other laptops? What will happen to mobile? So the answer is the reason why the prototype is because we probably have a lot of work to just make it faster without compromising quality. We have a lot of work to actually use the quality level slider that we have to dial down the lighting fidelity and to get back performance. And also, I think fundamentally, so if we are talking about the really low-end platforms, like we are talking about iPhone 4, odds are the new technology will not really work on an iPhone 4. So we are figuring out a way how to more seamlessly transition between the two. This might involve some small improvements to the current lighting engine as well. And also some technology to like go back and forth easily. So the second, can you repeat the second one?
Yes, absolutely.
CSG triangle limit?
With the new CSG solver coming soon, will any triangle optimization tools be added?
Oh, triangle optimization tools. So the short-term plan is to ship the new CSG engine with the triangulation that is roughly on par with the current one. The slightly longer-term plan is to make the better. So to have a smaller number of triangles output from the same operation without any fidelity loss. And then after that, I think probably later this year, maybe early next year, we'll start working on the triangle optimization tools that potentially make your mesh slightly less precise, but we'll have much fewer triangles.
All right. Well, Isaiah, while we're talking about performance and optimization, let's keep going here. This is another multi-part question, so I'm going to read it, then let me know, and we'll go through questions one at a time. This is actually a really loaded question. All right. How does Roblox render 3D geometry? How does Roblox render GUIs? Why are GUIs so slow compared to parts? And will we ever get an improvement or faster alternative to GUIs?
First two questions are hard to answer.
Yeah.
Like, how does Roblox render parts and UI? I don't know.
Through code.
Through code.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. All right. So yes, we render parts through code. We render UI through code, but this is not the same code. This is why sometimes UIs are slower. So the real answer is I briefly covered this in the earlier deck today. We have worked, and we have shipped some UI optimizations that just make UI rendering faster. And we will also be working on making fundamental improvements to UIs that don't change much. So expect news on that front, I guess.
All right. Soon. TM.
No TM.
No TM. It's just coming soon. All right. Well then, let's jump over back to some web and mobile questions. One for Isaiah here. Any plans to optimize the search algorithms on the site? This includes games, clothing, items, and everything in between.
Did we plan these questions? These are all slow pitches. Okay, this is awesome.
Is this too slow? All right.
No, this is great.
And once again, if anyone out there is getting burning questions that can stump Isaiah, gladly proceed to the back and ask those questions. We'll ask them here.
So we also now have a dedicated discovery and search team. One of the slide decks earlier that you were presenting, improvements to the toolbox search. So we have a data engineering team that has basically been munging through, large swaths of what the, asset metadata looks like, looking for patterns. There's a pretty deep pipeline there, a lot of it around common misspellings. So some of the metrics that we're plotting with respect to that are, the number of search terms that return no results. Looking for, neighbor is a really hard word for a lot of people to spell, apparently. And so a lot of misspellings of neighbor come up with nothing. we did some core infrastructural work that has actually opened up a lot of possibilities for us as well. So the search framework that we're using, we upgraded to the latest version, significant performance increases there, fewer timeouts that may not be super transparent. It probably like feels a little bit nicer and you're not really sure why. But generally, because of those performance improvements, we're seeing fewer timeouts. And the other areas of focus are a lot of personalization for the results. So results around your specific user context, like awareness of that, what your friends are doing, what your social structure is doing, and tailoring those results along those lines. But there's a very deep, Deepak Sorkis is the product managing that, dedicated engineering team, and a deep pipeline. So we'll be, you'll be hearing news for years to come on developments in that front.
All right, pretty good. I found a good one for you next round, so it's gonna get hard. But let's go over to Matthew Dean to tell us a little bit about group games. There's been a lot of talk recently about group games. What can you share with us about the overhaul of this feature or any future plans?
Yeah, so we definitely hear you on this one. A lot of you are telling us that you want a better way to collaborate with other people on your games. Like with group games, you want more fidelity on the feature access. Like if you have multiple games in a group, you want to be able to do payouts or do access on the per game basis rather than a per group. So this is definitely something we're looking into for the near future.
He's quick. All right. Good timing on my part. All right. Matthew, while we're talking to you, got a quick question here. Are there any plans to allow developers to display group games they've worked on their profile page? What was the reasoning behind introducing tabs in the slideshow views?
Tabs in the slideshow.
In the profile page.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So for being able to for a game being able to show who made it, we think is super important. Because with a group game, you don't get the credit that you would get if it was a game just made by a user. So this is something we are looking into figuring out how we can support somehow. And then the question about, so a while ago we redesigned the profile page, and with this we switched to a different visualization system for how to display your games. We haven't fully finished what we started there. What we want to do is allow you to configure what's on that page, so you could set up which sections are available. So if you're a developer, you could configure it so the very first section people see when they see your profile is your games, or it could be your development group. So we want to give you the control over what people see there, so you can curate the experience.
All right, thank you. Isaiah, this was the number one question. What's up with the text filter?
You were saving the tough ones. Yeah.
Good one here.
What's up with it? Yeah, it's a little rough around the edges right now, huh? So what's up with it? One of our primary concerns, one of the things that we're deeply concerned about is safety of the player community, especially for our younger audience. We introduced some changes to the text filter to enable that, and it's not where it needs to be. We're aware. We know that it's rough. We're working on it. We have, this is going to sound, I keep saying this, but it's true. We now have a dedicated engineering team for that. You can basically take away, when you ask these questions on the product side or on a specific engineering focus or performance or something like that, if there's a dedicated team to it, it's like one of our core focuses. If there's not a dedicated team, then we might be able to interleave it tactically, but we have so much that we need to do, and we don't have enough people. We're hiring aggressively, and we're really trying to move the platform forward. So we have to be very diligent about the decisions that we make and what we want to focus on. Text filter is core to the social experience, and you can bet that we're dedicating a lot of attention to it, and we're trying to make it better right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Isaiah. We'll get some hard ones for you, too. Once again, everyone out there, keep thinking. That was pretty good. We'll get some real hard ones. Everyone out there, keep thinking of questions. In a couple minutes here, we're going to ask for you guys to step in the back there and ask them, but not quite yet. We've got a couple more burning questions from the community. Let's jump over back to Arseny. Here's a couple quick ones for you. Does Roblox have plans to increase decal resolutions?
Soon, TM.
Soon. All right. That was, I guess, a quicker one than I thought.
Yeah, I can expand a bit on this. A lot of people have been asking for this. The current limit is 1024. 1024 is a pretty good size, but some people want like a 1080p background or something in their game. So there is a big technical limitation right now, which is that the backend can only serve one version of the image to everybody. This means that you will upload a 1080p image, and then you'll open your like phone on like iPhone 4, iPhone 5, whatever, and it will significantly increase the chances that your game will crash due to out-of-memory reasons. So we have to change the backend to be able to generate multiple platform-dependent versions of the image to make this change, and this is kind of what is blocked on.
One more quick one again, Arseny. Do you have plans to increase poly limit?
Yeah, so there's two poly limits right now. One is for mesh parse, one is for CSGs. For the second, for the like CSG v2, there's actually a slight bump in the poly limit. I think the current one is like 2,500, and the new one is like 3,500 or something like that. So fundamentally, it's kind of the same story, like we can increase it to be a very large number, but a lot of people aren't necessarily cognizant of the fact that the more triangles you have, the more memory it takes, the slower it gets to render. I've seen some screenshots on Twitter. It's like, yeah, your mesh has like 500,000 triangles, but the limit is 5,000. So we can't really unlock it completely. We are planning to work on technology that will automatically simplify the mesh and provide multiple versions with multiple triangle counts. So once that's live, you can expect the triangle limit to go up as well.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Matthew Dean, question for you. Now, this could be a better question for Laker, who